Hello and welcome to Podcast.init, the podcast about Python and the people who make it great. When you're ready to launch your next app, you'll need somewhere to deploy it, so check out Linode. With private networking, shared block storage, node balancers, and a 200 gigabit network, all controlled by a brand new API, you've got everything you need to scale. Go to podcastinit.com/Linode to get a $20 credit and launch a new server in under a minute. And visit the site at podcastinit.com to subscribe to the show, sign up for the newsletter, and read the show notes. Your host as usual is Tobias Macy, and today I'm interviewing Maricela Sanchez Miranda about her work in organizing PyCon Charlas, the Spanish language track at PyCon US, as well as Python Day Mexico. So Maricela, could you start by introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm Maricela. I was working in a lot of communities in Mexico City, Puebla City too. I'm software engineer, trainee, and I'm working to create communities here in Mexico and promote the languages and open source technologies.
And do you remember how you first got introduced to Python?
Yeah, a friend of mine told me about Python, and maybe I liked to learn about it, and I loved the first time that I did a function in Python. I love the simplicity. So after finish my school, I was searching about job that involves Python and open source, and I'm here.
And so for anybody who isn't familiar with it, can you briefly describe what the PyCon Charlas track was and what Python Day Mexico is?
Yeah, sure. PyCon Charlas burns from another initiative of PyCon US that calls Hatchery, that wants to create spaces for underrepresented communities, minorities. So we postulate the PyCon Charlas track and give to Spanish speakers in the PyCon a space to talk, to create, to meet other people, and that's cool. And Python Day was the first event in Mexico about Python. I think never in Mexico was another event about Python, and we need it. So we created, and this year we are running the second edition of Python Day Mexico.
And what has been your motivation for getting involved with organizing these community events beyond just being somebody who uses Python for your work?
Well, I think the first motive was there aren't a lot of people involved in creating communities. So I want a community of Python, and I begin it.
Yeah, that's usually one of the best motivators of just trying to fulfill your own needs and be able to grow a community so that you can take advantage of it as well.
Yeah, and somebody have to begin that. So I was the person.
Yeah, it can be a lot of work to try and create a community and bring together a lot of people when there isn't already an established group. So I'm curious how much of a community there is for the Python language in Mexico and what the characteristics are of the community that you find to be unique from other Python communities that you've interacted with.
Okay, I think there are a lot of silos. There are a little groups of people that met there, but not involved with more people, with other groups. So I want to change that. I want all the groups that exist communicate, collaborate between it. So it's a little hard. Begin a community involves time, a lot of time, sometimes money, but it's very gratificate, because if one people learns something new, and when he told you Yeah, I don't know that this technology or this library exists, and thanks for do this. That's all. That's all for me. I got the thing that I wanted.
And have you gotten much feedback from your experience of putting together Python Day Mexico last year and the PyCon Charlas track that you're using to feed into your work on the Python Day Mexico for this year and any other community building efforts?
Yeah, the most challenging thing was got sponsors. Here in Mexico is difficult, this financial system, so get sponsors was the most challenging. So this year we prefer don't put efforts or a lot of efforts in that, and do an even more for the community, and try to get involved more the people. So we are running a crowdfunding campaign for this Python Day Mexico, this edition. And PyCon Charlas was very gratified because after the event, a community of people, a group of people, talk about create a PyCon Latam, something like PyCaribbean. So they are working in that, and I think it's because PyCon Charlas. So I'm very proud of that, and I think Mario and Naomi, the other chairs of the track, I are very proud of that too.
Yeah, it's always great when your work to try and build the community ends up inspiring other people to take up that mantle and bring it to their own local geographies and local communities.
Yeah, yeah, it's really gratifying.
And what are your personal goals beyond just being able to have other Pythonistas to interact with in your own community? What are your goals for fostering these Spanish language events, both in your native Mexico as well as at the PyCon US event?
Okay, for Python Day Mexico, the from the beginning we want an event that moves around the country. So the last year was here in Mexico City, but now the Python Day go to Guadalajara City. Maybe in the next edition, want to want to take to Chiapas or something in the north, some state in the north of the country, because we want to bring Python to all the country and meet another Python developers.
And what have you found to be some of the most challenging or complicated aspects of organizing the Python Day event?
In this version, I think the remote part, because the mayor of the team is in Guadalajara and I'm in Mexico City. So that is challenging. And I have another communities, so I have more work. So maybe sometimes I can take a call about organization, and that's the challenge in this edition of the event.
And what size or scale of event are you anticipating this year? And how does it compare to last year's event? And I'm curious how that size affects the planning and preparation that goes into getting the event put together.
Okay, last year we was waiting for 600 people, and well, we know that the 50% of the people registered go to the event, so we have almost 300 people, and this year we are waiting 300 people, and we hoped to get more people, but it's fine if just got 300. And uh, PyCon Charlas, we don't have a expectation of the number of attendees now. We are working in another things. I'm taking the social media, so I'm not more involved in the work until now. But the last year was very very fun in attendance, and I hope to this year, well, the next year of the PyCon, this could be increased. The attendance could be increased. So
And are there any aspects of the geography or infrastructure or culture of Mexico that you found to either aid or inhibit your efforts in organizing the conference?
yeah, I think here we need, you have to be very very known person here, something like influencer, in order to get more easily the things, the sponsor, the venue. And we, in this moment, we don't have this, so that is challenging for create the communities, but we are working in that. After Python Day Mexico, we create a community called Pymex. So this year we got sponsorship of a company, and now we have a venue every month, a secure venue, and that's, it's great because we want to focus in organizing, in getting people to talk in the meetup, in the monthly meetup, and we don't have to lose time in searching avenue. That's really really great and good for the organization. I think here in and in the other places too.
And in terms of the topics that you're getting submissions for the conference, are there any general themes that stand out to you or any that you would like to see in subsequent events?
Well, there are a lot of submission of data science. I think the community here are increasing in exponential form. So there are a lot of submissions in that topic, web development. I think it's all. It's the major topics: web development and data science. And yeah, something about other things like create interfaces with Python, but that's all.
And for both PyCon Charlas and Python Day Mexico, this is the second year that they'll be going on. Do you anticipate that they will continue to be annual events? And do you have any thoughts on ways that you might either change or improve the events for subsequent years?
Yeah, yeah. I think here in Mexico, trying to involve more the people. I don't know how in this moment, but I'm searching for ways to get involve more people in the community, in the event, and for PyCon Charlas, I think they we could do a great job. And well, we did a great job the last year, and I think they even gonna increase in presence, in attendance, and maybe in creating another initiatives in other countries on, or maybe creating a more huge community of Spanish speakers.
And do you have any particular advice for anybody who's interested in organizing a conference or growing a community in their own region or language?
Don't leave it in another hands. If you can take it, if you can take the ownership of something, take it. Just do it. Don't be afraid. Just do it.
And are there any other aspects of your experience with organizing these events and growing this community that you think that we should talk about that we haven't covered yet?
No, I think it's all. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but I remembered it after the call.
And in terms of managing these communities, are there any lessons that you have found useful personally or in your own professional development or your daily work?
Yes, the organization. Take the take your time for each task. That I'm working in that because I'm involved in another communities like Rust and like Agile. Well, I leave it now, but before I was involved in Agile in an Agile community here. And take the time. Don't mix the work.
All right. For anybody who wants to get in touch with you or attend the events or follow the work that you're up to, I'll have you add your preferred contact information to the show notes. And so, with that, I'll move us into the picks. And this week, I'm going to choose a card game that I found from playing with my kids called Cardline. And there are a few different editions. And the one I picked up for us is focused on dinosaurs. And that's from the same people who make the Timeline card game. But with this one, you order the cards based on either the size or the time period in which the different species were around. So it's an interesting and fun way to just explore some of the different attributes of dinosaurs. And they have ones on different animals or I think geographical regions. But in any case, they're fun, they're easy to pick up and play quickly. So I definitely recommend checking those out. And so with that, I'll pass it to you, Maricela. Do you have any picks this week?
I like to pick Triceratops,
Sure.
maybe. And you can find me in Twitter like Mayela, Mayela 0x14. In Gitter too, I'm like Mayela 0x14 too, and in usually I respond the comments, the tweets of Python Day Mexico and PyCon Charlas too. So you can reach me in their Twitter accounts too.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking the time today to join me and talk about your experience with working on building and growing the communities around PyCon Charlas and the Python community in Mexico. It's definitely a great endeavor, and I'm happy to see the Python community growing in more areas. So thank you for that, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, thank you too.